guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about the new movie Kinds of Kindness, which comes out on June 21st. This is from the same person who did Poor Things, which I loved Poor Things. I think it was fantastic. I think it deserved all the praise it got. It's one of my favorite films of last year. Absolutely adored it. So this is from Yargos. I'm going to say his last name wrong probably, even though I'm Greek too. Lanthimos. But anyway, listen, if you've seen Poor Things, if you've seen his other stuff, you know he's a little out there sometimes. And this movie is definitely not for everyone, as all his other films are. Now, this one is 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I know that sounds excessively long, but it is 3 different movies, essentially. 3 shorter movies, right? Feature films, I would even say. It's not like they're shorts. They're like a full movie concept. There are 3 stories. They sort of connect in that they all have themes of like mental manipulation and kind of like what people will do in certain situations, you know, that kind of thing, which is extremely interesting to me. I love that kind of stuff. So let's talk about it broken up into the 3 parts. The first one, I have no notes. I absolutely loved this film. I was on the edge of my seat through the whole thing. I thought it was very entertaining, very interesting. It's essentially, I don't even know what I can say without giving stuff away, but it's Jesse Plemons is like, him and Willem Dafoe in that first one are just absolutely incredible. They're phenomenal. I mean, of course they are, right? This should come as no surprise. They're both extremely talented actors, but they really are great. And Jesse's like the absolute standout. But it's so interesting, this relationship between them, and Jesse goes on this like, it's a mental thing. It's a mental manipulation. And I just don't want to give too much away, but I will say that one was easily my favorite. I was like, perfect, great start, edge of my seat. Can't wait I'm piecing things together. I'm so entertained and so interested with this story. I was all in. There's some funny moments. There's a few moments I laughed, but really it's a drama. It's messes with your mind a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, there's some moments that you cringe, you know, which listen, Yargos is so good at sticking in moments where you're like, oh, but you're still watching, you know? And we get a lot of that. The first one, like I said, no notes. Second story, I was very interested as well. Right from the beginning, Jesse Plemons, again, fantastic. Very intrigued. Like, okay, there's some funny stuff at the beginning. I'm like, what's going on? And about halfway through, it gets crazy. It gets more and more off the rails. And then it goes too far off the rails for me in that I needed more answers. I needed more solidified answers instead of just questioning, is this, is that? Hard to talk about without spoilers, but when you see it, you guys will know what I'm talking about. So for me, unfortunately, the second one kind of fell apart. But there's a lot of great stuff in the beginning of the story, and I like the idea of what we were getting with manipulation and kind of like, is this or isn't it? And I know that sounds so vague, but I promise you guys you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we get to the third one. And the third one is very culty. That is what I will say. So again, it deals with mental manipulation, right? Like what people will do if they're put in certain situations. And Emma Stone is the standout of this one. Absolutely. I mean, Willem Dafoe is phenomenal, of course. But Emma is 100% at the forefront of this one. And Jesse as well. But really, Emma stands out in the third one for me. And again, I was in. I'm like, okay, I enjoy like a culty story. I just find it fascinating to me because this happens in real life. Like people will like be in cults and they don't even know they're in cults, or they're like happy to be in cults. It's so weird. And that's the vibe I get with this one, okay? And so again, really in, intrigued. What are they doing? They're searching for this girl, but like then you have all these notes about the things this girl has to check off, you know? Very, very interesting. And then it, again, kind of goes a little off the rails. I'd say this one probably makes it about 2/3 of the way through before it gets, and I'm like, what? And then I have questions. How does this person know that? What is it? You know, they don't fully explain stuff. Like, why would this person even do that? That doesn't make sense. Like, it's interesting overall, like the story, but it left me with too many questions, and that I was like, okay, I need to know stuff. But then there's like this little like thing that happens right at the end, like the credits kind of pop up, but then something happens, and then I was like, oh, I feel like I loved this third one, even though I had those issues. So it's so weird because I have like this back and forth where I loved the first one, Middle was okay. It just kind of got off the rails for me. And then the third one, I really did like. Then I didn't like it, and then I did like it. So, I don't know. Then there's a fun little stinger at the end. I mean, listen, Yorgos is in this as well, and his little appearances are fantastic. So, here's the thing. It's the same actors in all three stories. The stories do not actually connect, as in they don't cross paths. These characters aren't all in the same world, I don't think. But they do all have this common theme of, like, human, you know, again, manipulation, what people will do in certain situations. And it's just like a study of humans. And it's interesting. To say the least, at least it is interesting. It is entertaining at times. There are certain moments that are funny. There are a lot of cringy moments. There are certain moments that are uncomfortable. But I think overall, I was satisfied. It didn't feel like it, for me, 2 hours and 45 minutes because you're going through the three stories and there's so much going on. I don't know how it will hold up on a rewatch. I don't know if it will feel its length in a rewatch. But for me, it didn't feel fully 2 hours and 45 minutes. It felt long, but it didn't feel that long. And I think that's because you're switching things up with new stories. So it's essentially like you're sitting here watching 3 movies back to back to back, 3 shorter movies. You know, you're getting the pacing is decent. You're getting the answers for the most part when you want them. Obviously, like I said, in the second and third one, I had some things that I never got fully answers to. But these are things like I'm going to have conversations with other people who have seen it, and hopefully we can kind of connect some of the dots for each other. But overall, I say if you like his other stuff, you probably are going to like this. The thing is, it's very artsy. And I don't know if that... Listen, I like it. They felt very A24 to me. This is what I will say. And I really like most A24 stuff. For me, The Lighthouse was too artsy. It wasn't for me. I've tried watching it more than once, and I just can't. I can't. I've watched it one time, and I tried to revisit it, and it was not for me. And I think this could have that effect on some people. I enjoyed it overall. That's what I will say. It's so hard because it is 3 separate things. If I was to rate them, the first one would absolutely be a fresh. The second one would probably be a rotten. And the third one would fall somewhere in the middle, and I'd probably end up leaning fresh just because of how intriguing the cult stuff was, especially at the end. That's my my rating, guys. Do with it what you will. Let me know if you're excited for Kinds of Kindness. Are you going to go to theaters on June 21st and see it? Let me know in the comments. If by the time you got to this review, you've already seen it, what did you think? I'm so curious to know how others feel about this. I mean, I think Jesse, Emma, Willem, all were standouts for me. Joe Alwyn's a terrible person. In the third one, I didn't like him at all, but that's okay. I don't mind not liking him. I'm not upset with that. So anyway, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and you guys can check me out at MamasGeeky.com. Thanks. I'll see you next time.